Prosecutors from different regions converged in Kampala for the annual general meeting under the theme, The Role of Prosecutors in Combating Human Trafficking. Uganda is said to be a destination and transit route of the human traffickers, where the victims, such as children, are subjected to hard labor, sexual exploitation, and slavery, among other offenses. According to the DPP, at least 1,000 victims were rescued last month. During the conference, the Deputy Chief Justice Richard Buteera, who is also the former DPP, gave a list of guidelines that the prosecutors need to adhere to in order to dispense justice while handling human trafficking offenses. He first listed some of the crimes perpetrated by the offenders.
Sexual exploitation, which involves the use of a person in sexual intercourse and prostitution, children marriages, sex tourism, pornography, production of pornographic materials.
Justice Buteera also tasked the team to ensure that they take advantage of the existing laws and declarations against human trafficking that apply to other countries in case of transborder human trafficking.
The United Nations Treaty Against Transnational Organized Crime is a good tool for mutual legal assistance where you need to obtain evidence from a foreign country. The prosecutor should coordinate with the foreign governments and international organizations to facilitate extradition processes, share intelligence on traffickers that are operating across borders.
To convince them to come and give evidence is not easy. That is why we don't have a lot of success in the prosecution of trafficking in persons that have an international component.
During the charging of the suspects, a good case is as good as its file, and thus the Court of Appeal Judge Buteera advised prosecutors to ensure that the cases are properly filed.
Your charging documents must comply with the rules of framing charges or indictments under the Magistrates' Courts Act and the Trial or Indictments Act, respectively. A poorly drafted charge sheet or indictment can lead to an acquittal of a person accused of TRAFFICking, regardless of how good your evidence may have been.
In many cases, the victims of these heinous crimes are always ignored, as more effort is put on ensuring the perpetrators are convicted.
Of the offenses of TRAFFICking cases requires that the prosecutor assesses and identifies the needs for the victims of this crime. It is only when regard is paid to this that the proper prosecution can take place. The national referral guidelines for management of victims of human trafficking in Uganda should come in handy.
Corruption is one of the major setbacks during investigations. The prosecutors have been advised to curb this vice.
The aspect of corruption in the chain supply system of human trafficking. But there is this corruption of ours within law enforcement and judicial systems. I don't want to talk. But they impede prosecution, they impede investigation, they discourage victims, they impede conviction.
This was the message from the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Prosecutors are uniquely positioned to dismantle human trafficking networks, ensure justice for victims, and create a deterrent for future offenders. Every conviction we secure sends a powerful message that Uganda will not tolerate exploitation of its people.
Human trafficking is a phenomenon that requires sophisticated and systematic approach in averting this very vice. Those involved in ensuring that they fight this crime have been advised to ensure that they collaborate with their partners in other countries so that the perpetrators do not run and find safe havens in other countries. And even those that have been affected by this very vice, those are the victims, they need to be considered in terms of the special needs that they have during the trial and even after trial. Sudil Biaruhanga, NTV, Kampala.